So we had always speculated about a potential quid pro quo in the decision making of a very corrupt Judge Eileen Cannon. Was it explicit? Was it implicit? We knew that she was a Trump appointee. She seemed to always be going out of her way to help Donald Trump and making some of the most ridiculous, unlawful, if it wasn't so dangerous, they would be laughable rulings. Harry Litman here from the Talking Feds YouTube channel, the Talking Feds podcast. Make sure you all subscribe to both. The MeidasTouch Network works with Talking Feds. It's where I get my legal news from. But Harry, what we're learning now about Judge Eileen Cannon is that she is on Donald Trump's very short list if he were to. And again, I don't think it's going to happen, but we should be real about what the stakes are in this election. She would be on his short list to be Attorney General and to carry out his express weaponization plans. The Trump campaign has not denied this. Donald Trump has publicly praised her over and over again. In fact, he's recently said that anybody who criticizes her ruling should be rounded up, arrested, and if you link that with his other statements, the military or National Guard should put them into concentration camps and potentially kill them if you criticize Judge Cannon. But we've always speculated here, but not in conjecture. We backed it up with her actions that there's something going on here. So I guess first let's talk about the conflict of interest here, the kind of further erosion of norms that's happening so kind of out there in the public. And look, your experience, you clerked for 2 Supreme Court justices. You were a United States attorney in Pennsylvania. You were there when things were normalcy, and now you see all of this. So what's your reaction to this all, Harry?
Yeah, look, she has been in the tank from the start, it seems to me. And without this being in the offing, she was the last appointee. He put her in. She came out of the box with just a debacle of not just a ruling, but a whole frolic and detour as she commandeered what should have been really garden variety Fourth Amendment claim made later, and totally bollocksed up the case. That's the reason that she may be subject to being recused because of that record if she's now reversed on her dismissal of the case. But it seemed to me, and I came to it slowly, she's a federal judge, but there was no other conclusion to reach. And I think her calculation from early on was, I'm disrespected, even reviled by my colleagues. There's a world in the future where Donald Trump becomes president again. That's a happy world for me. I'm just going to put down my bets on that world, and because otherwise, I'm gonna be the sort of excluded, ostracized one here in my district. This newest thing, Ben, my clerk experience actually matters. When you are looking around for a job after you've clerked and there is the prospect of something specific, you immediately have to cut off all dealings with that. You have one first talk with a law firm, you give them your resume. You may not, as a clerk, participate in anything involving that law firm, and it is the same for judges. I've had the occasion to advise and counsel judges who wanted to get off the bench. If you can imagine, that's a little bit of a tricky thing. You don't put your resume out on the street if you're a judge. And so you made quiet inquiries. They were thinking about this or that job, and it went without saying that they could no longer sit in any case involving that prospective employer. Now, presumably she just found out about this. The right thing to do now, if she's really on a short list, is to have nothing to do with the case until she either goes and is hired in the new Trump executive branch, or that prospect rise up and goes away. The odds of her doing the right thing as described are 0, I would say. But in general, the bigger point is just the one you make, because Trump has these grand plans, Project 2025. We've seen it, to hollow out the Department of Justice and to, in many ways put his stamp as an autocrat on the whole government. At some point, he'll need some cooperation by ready and willing judges. And he doesn't need all of the judiciary, but he's going to need some. And somebody like Cannon obviously stands at the ready. She has through the case that's already come, and now going forward, she will. So she is a sort of scary ghost of Christmas future that could come to the fore as AG or otherwise in the event Trump wins.
The other person on the short list, either Judge Eileen Cannon or people have been floating the name Mike Davis. And Mike Davis comes from a Federalist background. Before kind of the Trumpism MAGA world, he was kind of viewed as just kind of, a conservative right-wing guy. But then he's gone full kind of MAGA troll, and he actually talks about gulags and locking people up who he doesn't like, and he spends his time on social media making posts like this. Like, could you imagine if, Merrick Garland was out there on a social media account making posts like this? Mike Davis, in response to Mark Cuban's been out there. Mark Cuban, billionaire investor, former majority owner, now minority owner of the kind of Dallas Mavericks, made a lot of money in the kind of internet boom in the 2000s. He's out there just talking about economic policy. And Cuban's out there saying, look, Donald Trump doesn't know about tariffs. Donald Trump says you're going to tariff a nation as though you're just going to tariff China 2,000%, but right. That's a 2,000% tax on Americans. And all Cuban's doing here is giving facts and his background as a businessman, to which Mike Davis, says he can clean the toilets in the gulag. And this is Trump's other topic, either Eileen Cannon or Mike Davis. And, I give your background at the DOJ, your background clerking, and look, I graduated law school, after you, I graduated law school in 2010, but I admired the law. I went to Georgetown Law because our country was not this. And for me, this isn't a political thing. I cringe and I get sick when I see people like that. It'll be Davis or Cannon. Like, what's your reaction when you see something?
Yeah, so it's really, look, Jamie we do this series now on Talking San Diego, Nancy Pelosi last week, Jamie Raskin just before that, and he said, I fell out of love with the Supreme Court. And that really speaks volumes, because he was in love with it. People were in love with it, and people now feel jilted, but also, really concerned. Mike Davis, the clerking experience man, Mike Davis was a Supreme Court clerk, and I know him, and he really, I've been on, several TV appearances with him, and he came across as pretty straight. And he is now, he's drunk some kind of spiked Kool-Aid, and is, you think of like in exorcism terms. I've had some, conversations with him as a friend saying, wow, is this really how you want to position yourself? And I think the answer is yes. It's very much like Cannon. Now, Davis, as a sort of credentialed clerk Washington type, he could have a job in a way that Cannon couldn't, as what? A partner at a respected law firm and make a lot of money. But this is kind of going for the gold, and it entails the most, not just complete abandonment of ethics and the law, but the true nastiness. And again, the point is, Trump will find these people. They will be available. Some of them will even be competent, and they're just Mr. Presidential candidate. How much do you want me to debase myself and harm your enemies and trample the rule of law? Just tell me and I'll sign here. And, there's a lot of Faustian bargains going on, whether the people know what that means or not. And Mike Davis, you really got to say, like, he knows better. And, same as J.D. Vance, who you have to think was sincere when he said that Trump was like Hitler, etc. It's just sheer power politics at the service of really the most, pernicious potential president in our history. It's some ugly shit, but that's always the story with autocrats. They'll find people to do their bidding. Some of them are smart people. Davis is a smart person, but hard to get your head next to some of the ridiculous stuff that he's saying and knows is ridiculous.
The one thing that we wanted to build here at the MeidasTouch network and with channels like Talking Feds is a way to get out this information, because corporate media is just, saying, welcome fascism. I saw this post by the Daily Beast that said, opinion amidst the biggest political battle of her life. Vice President Kamala Harris has failed to leverage one of the most powerful communication tools for female leaders, her sense of style, to which the lawyer Tom Ryan responded, I didn't realize the presidential election contest was actually a beauty pageant. I must have missed this in my high school civics class. Sheesh. And that's the thing, though. We have these platforms now, Talking Feds, MeidasTouch Network, where we're going to get out the truth. That's why I tell everybody, subscribe to Talking Feds and send this to friends, family, coworkers, because there's no one as experienced right now, or very few as experienced as Harry Litman, in his background, clerking for the Supreme Court, working as a United States attorney, being inside the DOJ, and telling you actually how these things happened in normal times. I'll give you the last word.
Well, the normal times, look, we are all biting our nails now, but it is just, there seems still to be a sentiment out there of, he's just saying that, or, you really try to puzzle over why things stay in the election. And like you, Ben, we're nonpartisan, but the stakes for the rule of law seem immense. And you just, these things about both Mike Davis and Eileen Cannon really show you can put the pieces together from a malign Trump intent, which he's been so clear about. What's this next term going to be if he wins? He says retribution, and the legal tools with willing accomplices in the judicial branch or hench people in the executive branch to do it. This is no joke. Mark Cuban says this in a few months under a Trump presidency, and an attorney general nominee or somebody prominent, makes this claim. Donald Trump picks up the phone and says, I want you to investigate Cuban right now for communism or whatever it is. And the Supreme Court immunity opinion, if we can circle back to end there, Ben, would say he's totally immune, however corrupt it is. That's just dealing with the Justice Department, and that's, completely core executive power. So core corrupt executive power, we're staring it in the face like a freight train. And we're kind of tied to the tracks. We got to get untied, and pronto.
Couldn't agree more. Subscribe to Talking Feds YouTube pronto. Hit subscribe to our channel as well. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Ben.
Real quick, Meta just changed their algorithm to suppress political content. Please follow our Instagram at MeidasTouch right now as we head towards 400,000 followers so you don't miss a beat.